Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. Of course, AM Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every one of those Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in today. No real guest, you can be my guest. Give us a call with anything on your mind whatsoever. We had a couple of lively topics. I'll be mentioning quite a few of them to you today. If I trigger a little bit of something going on up there that says, hey, I remember that show, I want to ask a question. I didn't want to interrupt the guest because I know you do that. Give us a call today at 412-825-6262. A number of issues to click on through, none better than what we just went through the other day with a good friend of ours, Dr. Kath Ingram. I'll be talking about that in just a moment. It's open phones today, folks. 412-825-6262. Calendar-wise, things are really filling up. So just take a gander, take a listen to the up-and-comings, so to speak, of what we're going to be having here for you. Kicking it off next week, Doug Inglesby is going to be back. Turns out the government, in the words of the great Al Gore, is fixing to get SpongeBob away from you and your family. It turns out that they're going to be unleashing some pretty vicious attacks on nutritional content and how their nutritional content of foods and processed foods in particular, and how they're now going to intervene and prevent the alluring imagery of a SpongeBob to get your kids to buy something in the store. Hey, sounds like almost a commendable item. Anyway, Doug Inglesby will be with us next week on that score. You don't want to miss it. And of course, next week ends the month of July, and then we turn the page, which is filling up pretty nicely, by the way, with guests, but nonetheless, we move in the month of August. I guess Latrobe will be opening up. We'll be having quite a bit of Steeler information coming to us in the month of August. But on Monday, on the 2nd of August, an interesting guest is coming your way. Her name is Vicki Southard, and listen to this. How to slim down a stubborn double chin. Well, I said, you know what? My listeners would love to hear about that, I'm sure. Let's see how we would slim down that double chin with Vicki Southard telling us how to do so in August. Then Mark Underwood. You know Mark. He's been here a number of times. He's the guy who came up with a product. We carry that product. It's called Prevagen. Comes from proteins and enzymes found in jellyfish. And this is a substance that he discovered, invented, packaged, and now sells to help people with memory loss, in particular those who are moving down a road of Alzheimer's disease. Anyway, turns out there's a blood test he wants to talk about. Blood testing is at the instant warning of Alzheimer's. It wouldn't be good if there was nothing you could do about it, but turns out Prevagen seems to work quite well. Mark Underwood will visit with us that first week in August. Then we jump down, as I've told you many times now, Jimmy Roberts is going to be with us on the 25th of August, talking about whatever he wants to talk about. He is allowed to set that agenda. Of course, we're going to be having questions about anything new on the cardiovascular front, anything that come by his desk that maybe is so recent it never made it into that famous book that he and his collaborator, another cardiologist, Dr. Stephen Sinatra, put together called Reverse Heart Disease Now. I still recommend it. We'll be talking about it. If you don't have a copy of it, please get one or listen for us on the 25th where we tell you how to get one. Then there's this interesting guest. Got a phone call the other day. Caught me completely off guard. I hadn't heard from this individual in a long time. When I mention his name to you, you will remember him, boy, if you're steady listeners to this show, from quite a long time ago, with a very tragic occurrence in his family. I'm talking, of course, about Jim Navarro. Now, Jim Navarro, when I looked at the dates on this, it's pretty amazing. Back in 2001. Goodness gracious, we've been doing this show that long. Even longer. But his son, Thomas Navarro, a 5-year-old, succumbed from cancer. And literally, we tracked this. He came through Pittsburgh. I met Thomas. I met the wife. I met all the kids. They're all grown up now. But there's many things happening on the Thomas Navarro front. The documentary's coming together. Documentary, they tell me, Peter Coyote, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but I know that I see his name oftentimes on the credits of various movies. Anyway, he's going to be narrating that commemorative documentary on Thomas Navarro. We're going to be front seat and center, knowing quite a bit about the documentary, how it was put together, sort of behind the scenes stuff. We were absolutely behind the scenes back in 2001 when that young boy was literally he was fleeing from state to state because they were trying to compel him to take chemotherapy, which he did not want to do. This family involved Congress, Dan Burton. Anyway, we'll go down memory lane with all the events. If you weren't with us back then, you weren't a listener, you'll want to hear about this terrible set of circumstances that this family found itself in with a young boy who was, I believe, 4 years old at the time, made it to age of 5 before he finally succumbed to his cancer. It was a brain cancer, and we'll relive the time and get ready for the launching of that documentary, which I understand is going to be right about his birthday. Thomas Navarro's birthday would have been November 19th, 2010. No, his birthday is July 5th, but he died on November 19th, 2001, and I believe that's the launching date of the documentary. Anyway, if you want to stay tuned here, Jim was really nice enough to let us behind the scenes. We followed him all over the country back then with the trials and tribulations that he went through with his son and hiding from the government. The police were out looking for him, trying to make him do that chemotherapy, and ultimately they were able to bypass those shackles. And more on that subject as the days click by. Now, as we said to you, this is a day for you to hone in on a number of things that you'd like to talk about. I'll pick up the ball. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, a little bit about the topic that we discussed the other day. Is Bonnie coming up this way? Talk about toxic summers and sort of regurge a little bit of what Cass Engel brought to us. And always looking for your knock on the door. Be right back.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to AM Impact on Your Health. Here on this Friday, get 'em up, out of time version of the show, as we normally like to say on Fridays. Well, we don't have a guest, single guest. We have you can become our guest by just taking us up on our invitation to give us a call with anything on your mind at all. 412-825-6262 is the number to give us a call. I'll be waiting to hear your knock on the door, and I'll let you in the store as soon as I do hear that knock. I wanted to pick up a bit on the topic of the other day with Cass Ingram. I thought, well, I'm never surprised when Cass is involved. He always does such a great job in whatever topic he happens to bring to us, and they're always, of course, backed with a lot of science and a lot of knowledge. This physician, a medical doctor, who doesn't do medical doctoring anymore, but does do quite a bit of educating throughout the entire country, for that matter, the entire world. We have known him as the King of Oregano, but his topic, I thought, was a little challenging when he said that we're going to be talking about something called how to survive a toxic summer. And then when I learned that he was going to try to associate what is happening down at the Gulf, in the Gulf of Mexico, with that oil spill, and how toxic things have become down there, he's saying, hey, look, folks, get ready, because it's coming to your local municipality in the form of rain. And just looking as I have over the last day or so, I'm tracking this now is a tropical storm, Bonnie, sort of blazing off the tip of Florida, but heading right smack dab in the center of the Gulf oil spill. It looks as though the impetus is there, at least, well, we hope it only stays as a tropical storm. No matter if it does or it doesn't, it's still going to lead to the formation of rain, of water, of moisture in clouds that's going to swoop up a lot of those toxic elements and bring them right up and able to be dumped on you should it come our way. Even if it doesn't come exactly our way, it's absolutely going to dump rain on the southern part of the United States, maybe the eastern seaboard. We'll learn about our status. Is Bonnie coming or not? And are you ready for her? I don't mean, make sure you get the sandbags out of your house if you're a low-lying area. I mean, are you ready for the devastation? I think he made the case for, talking about Dr. Cass Ingram now, for how toxic this rain can be, especially if you have any pre-existing conditions, especially if those pre-existing conditions are heart and lung related, and most specifically if they are pulmonary related, things like chronic asthmatics, how about chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, how about emphysema, asthmatic bronchitis, and the like. He had said, and so I mentioned to you, those of you who have heard the show will realize that essentially two things he said to get ready for it. It's antimicrobial in the form of none else than oregano. The drops, the oils under the tongue, I think was the recommended way that he said to pursue this. And then he brought in the chaga once again. He says, be drinking chaga tea. Evidently, the reason being that the chaga tea contains vast amount of SOD. SOD is one of your body's own natural antioxidants. stands for superoxide dismutase. You had to have heard it before, especially on this show and on this radio station. But it turns out chaga tea, coming from the bark of birch trees, is exactly the solution that he says would help stave off serious repercussions. Interesting, as we closed the show yesterday, Cass had made a promise to you all on the air that he'd come back to talk about one of his other books. His most recent book, by the way, is The Cure is in the Forest. A little bit about that in just a second. But one of his other books, which happened to do with natural cures for hypertension, he promised to come back and have a show on it with us. And I know I can't announce that show yet. What I learned off air was that he's heading to the woods, folks. He invited me. I had to decline. I couldn't go. But he and a group of investigators, or just those who have a general interest in coming along, are heading to the deep forest in Manitoba, Canada, and only to emerge a couple of weeks later with who knows what he will have learned. He would be at that point, instead of king of oregano, he'd be king of the forest. We got a lot of competitors for that title. But he promised me, and I got a date jotted down, he's going to emerge from the deeps of the forest on the 8th of August. We're going to talk over that weekend and set the date for his return, where I think we can get a little bit out of him on what happened on the trip, and then a topic I've been dying to get him to come on board with us and discuss, which is the natural cures for hypertension. And I know you'll be looking forward to it too. You, of course, get the books before he ever does emerge. Let me give you that number. I wrote it down. Here it is. 1-800-243-5242 is where you can get his books. His newest one was the book on the Cure is in the Forest. But you'll also be able to get his other book that he's going to send me a free copy of, and then I'll mention to you when I receive it, which are natural cures for high blood pressure. And we'll let that go at that. All right. Open them up today to you, folks. Anything on your mind is okay with me. Want to bring, and the number is 412-825-6262. Wanted to bring an interesting thing that happened here in the office just yesterday. The girls were here. When I say the girls, I'm talking about the two young ladies who do thermographic imaging here for patients in my area living closer to me here in the South Hills and the other venues that they travel to, and it is many, and I'm so happy to see that they move around town. And they're servicing many doctors, some of which are on the air here, on the airways of KHB, doing thermograms in their offices and availing the public of ways to get these very worthwhile procedures completed. While they were here yesterday, they had a full schedule, a full boat of patients in my office. I had a chance to talk to a couple of them. But they called me in to show me a study, and I thought I'd pass it on to you because it brought an interesting set of facts into play. And that is a situation where they showed me an initial thermogram done for a woman who was concerned about breast issues, didn't want to have mammograms anymore, but it certainly has been getting them. And here's the reason why. That a year and a half ago, this patient had a lesion, or at least what appeared to be a asymmetry. That's really what you look for when you're looking on thermograms, which are showing that the temperature of the skin portrayed in various colors. And there's all sorts of variation in temperatures at the level of the surface of the skin. And so the left breast and the right breast skin region rarely, if ever, look exactly the same, but there should be symmetry. And you can see on the particular study of a year and a half ago where one breast, the right breast, was showing a dysymmetry, but nothing really red hot, nothing really to say that there's an active lesion there, but nonetheless a dysymmetry. And that's all that could have been said about the study as it was read at that time. But of course, as is the case with all thermograms that are done, they say, okay, why don't we get another one of these thermograms in 6 months, within 6 months, so that we can make certain that this is suitable for archiving and are able to pronounce that there's absolutely no issue that one has to be concerned with. So within that time frame, a second thermogram was done, and the girls showed me that thermogram. And you could see a definite change, an increasing in the thermal patterns, indicative that something is going on. No frank lesion was even visible yet, just a heat pattern that showed quite a difference and would have and did allow additional comments to be made on that study with these changes, that they weren't going to be waiting a year until they asked for the next one. So they say within 3 months, get the third one. Lo and behold, they showed me the third study. A pattern continues to emerge where there appears to be a core and a central heat signature in the right breast that's taking form and taking shape. And they thought it would be interesting for me to see that, and I was certainly pleased to see that these studies were being so revealing, to be able to help this person in one way, really help them, and another way, actually create a problem. And that's what I thought I'd talk about today, because in the conventional world, that really is a lesion on a thermographic image, a lesion that leads to nowhere. Because as this lesion begins to take shape, and it would be, if you had a mammogram done, by the way, I'm told that this patient actually has had a recent mammogram, looking for some sort of visual confirmation on that study that there's a lesion there. And in actuality, there of course is none. There's nothing visible on a mammogram at this stage of the development of this lesion. And that's how far in advance these lesions are able to be predicted by thermogram. And this has caused, and I can remember following a couple other histories in the past, caused a great deal of angst because there is no real lesion to find yet by conventional means. Mammogram isn't going to find it. Even that famous PET scan is not more than likely going to find it because there is no lesion yet to find. So, ladies, those of you who participate in thermograms are very fortunate to have such advanced warning. However, that there's a potential for a lesion to develop. However, the warning is so advanced, it literally leaves you in a position that if you're looking for a conventional correction of this forming lesion, you will be able to find none. If you take that thermogram to your regular doctor, your OBGYN, they'll think you're crazy. They won't understand or appreciate, at least in the highest percentage of cases, what you're trying to convey to them because they don't know what a thermogram really is. All they'll say is, my goodness, if you're concerned about a breast lesion, let's order that mammogram. And there'd be a great temptation for you to do it. However, you shouldn't fall prey to that temptation because you're so far ahead. You may be years, and more than likely are years ahead of the fact that this lesion is going to have to take form, take shape, take hold, and really develop to a size of about 1 centimeter before it ever is going to be detectable, potentially, by mammography. And by the time you waited around for this thing to actually bring up a blip on the radar screen of the conventional doctors, you out there who know the 1 millimeter rule, which would be that by the time the thing has attained the size of 1 millimeter, it's already metastasized. So this lesion to nowhere, I say that with respect to conventional medicine, actually is your opportunity to everywhere. Because if you can have the detection of a lesion so early, so that no other conventional means is able to detect it. Therefore, actually, in a moment of facts, there can be no ultrasound that would need to be done. There can be no biopsy. There can be no surgery. There's nothing to surgerize because no study that has any full force of scientific basis in the medical community is going to be able to be interpreted as a lesion that is able to be not just detected, but able to be surgically removed. You're so early in the game that you have all the opportunity to deal with this at a systemic level with the approaches that we would do, for instance, in this office, as well as many offices throughout the country, utilizing non-toxic therapies, immune-boosting therapies, that you should be able to see that lesion literally dry up and go away with time, and of course show a normalization of the thermographic patterns so that there is no hint of any lesion which was present for a while, should be able to be dealt with and go away completely. So, that lesion to nowhere, at least nowhere in the conventional realm, is an opportunity to go everywhere with respect to your health. And I really appreciate the girl showing me that yesterday. I hope that you will avail yourself of the opportunity to get thermograms done. If you're doing them, just keep them up annually. Once they're able to archive an image on your behalf, then all you need is annual thermograms after that in order to make certain that you are in good stead. And we'll leave that subject go at that. Also, too, what's coming up now, this is August, and I usually, about the middle of September, I start to become aware that October is right around the corner, and October is this famous Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And our fountain will be turning pink. You'll be hearing me mention it. Last year, we actually, on the first day of October, I can remember saying, is anybody out there listening on the radio that can give us a call to let us know if the fountain turned pink this morning, meaning on October 1st of 2009. And we got a call from a trucker who said, let's let you know, Dr. Courtney, and your listeners, the fountain is pink, and it's going to turn pink again this year, all in an attempt to get you ladies in the mood to go get the mammogram that this is supposed to suggest needs to be done annually. And if you had forgotten, the fountain turning pink, as well as all the other mass media exposure at that time, will be to get mammograms. And hey, last year, after they let Breast Cancer Awareness Month be complete, it was only in November, which I thought was a trick of fate that is a little bit, but I won't say humorous, but evidently they wanted to allow the breast cancer awareness folks their month of full exposure before they brought in the new regulations. Don't you remember? In the month of November, early December, where they said, oh, by the way, mammograms, we don't even recommend them until you're 50 now. That's after they huddled all the women they could find who were in below 50 in the month of October and already got them with the these mammograms. And now, when November rolled around, they went, oh, new rules. And the ladies went nuts when they heard it. New rules. You don't need to get mammograms before the age of 50, and then you only need to do it every other year. Oh, boy. What a mess that was. All right. Take a short break. Coming back, listening for your knock on the door. Anything on your mind is okay with me. Want to talk about thermography? Fine. Talk about, hey, are you out of the closet yet? Are you planning to find out if you're in the closet? More about that when we return, if you know what I mean. Be right back in a moment.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, M.D. is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Good morning and welcome back to AM Impact on Your Health here on a Friday. Get 'em up out of date version, get 'em up out of town version of the show. We've opened it up to you and we said, hey, look, anything on your mind is okay with me. The number to get in on this is 412-825-6262. So dial it up, give us a knock on the door, and I'll let you in the store. To prove that, I just heard knock on the door. Let's welcome them in and say good morning. Hello, welcome aboard. What's on your mind?
Hi, Dr. Courtney.
Hi.
I have a comment on vitamin C and then a question on thermography.
Go.
Just this week I got the newsletter that I get from Raymond Francis.
Okay.
And it was on, the topic was, could your vitamin C be harming you? And it was a lot about what you were talking about.
Well, what did he say? I didn't get the memo.
He said that your vitamin C should say on the label, L-ascorbate, fully reduced, corn-free.
I love it.
And if it doesn't say that, it's not a good vitamin C.
The word is getting out more and more and more, making you a label, even a better label reader than I made you. The L-ascorbate component as opposed to the D-ascorbate component. These are isomers. And I don't think many, of course I'm going to check on this, I don't think many preparations have even tried to use the D-isomer. Did he think that was being flaunted out there in the marketplace?
He said it's probably very hard to find. He has a brand that has all that. And also, I did find one that says exactly that at, the pharmacist Len and Joe.
Yeah.
They make one that says all that on the label also.
Okay. Boy, I'm much happy to hear that the word is getting out. You folks are not going to let this thing rest. You're going to keep on label reading, and I love it when you're empowered to be such a powerful consumer, and all I can ask you to do is pass that on.
Yes,
right?
I forwarded that email to lots of people.
Yeah, pass it on, and it'll come up in conversation, too, with friends and neighbors and family and things like that. Pass it on, and people look at you strange, but you'll be backed up by science 10 times over. I've always felt emboldened by the fact that I knew science had my back, and I've got your back, and the rest of science does, too, and now it turns out so does Russ Francis. I always like to see when colleagues of mine are sort of singing the same song. Love it.
Yes, and the question I have, I've been getting thermographies since you first started them at your office years ago. And just had mine, and everything is fine. But my question is, you were talking about the person that had it and it kept changing, and you said...
A pattern emerged, yes.
at that point you can deal with it. And my question is, if that ever occurs, how do you deal with that?
Well, the first thing you have to do is get your mind cleared about looking as some might do, and I'm not saying that you would. It would be my patients that actually wouldn't be looking to get conventional input at that time. There's so much of a pressure to get rid of it, to get it out, to get to a surgeon and do and remove that. And I can appreciate the feeling. I'm just saying at that stage of the game, when thermal patterns are emerging that are showing that there's a potential. I don't even know that what I saw was a potential malignant lesion. I just knew that what I saw yesterday was a lesion. It's going to play itself out over some time unless something is done about it, but it certainly is not going to have anything done about it in the conventional world. How we would deal with it is to deal with it systemically by utilizing cytotoxic approaches, meaning kill. If that is a lesion forming, then you'll want to kill it, just as you could do by surgerizing it if it was big enough. Not being so big though, how about a very common way to do it? And I now have feel emboldened by the fact that the federal government has proven beyond a doubt that high dose intravenous L-ascorbate, how about this? L-ascorbate, non-corn derived vitamin C infusions of greater than 50,000 milligrams at a time will absolutely eradicate that cancer. How's that?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Now that's how you deal with it, and you'll be able and should feel emboldened by the fact that you'll see that pattern which had emerged and searched and showing that something is going to be happening start to resolve, back up, and it will become the same thermal pattern as the opposite breast. The symmetry will return, and when that happens, you know you have completed the job.
That is just such wonderful.
That's a wonderful way to be able to handle it. Sure, it absolutely is. When you're able to detect the lesion so early that no other form of detection is going to be worthwhile, especially if we're talking about conventional means. Even the very famous and certainly touted PET scan, which you hear me talk about a lot, and it is the gold standard now for detecting cancer. But no PET scan would ever be able to detect a lesion at that stage of the game, where the thermographic imaging is that sensitive that it's able to pick up these thermal changes that early that says something's in the making here. Don't know exactly what it is yet, but you can do something about it now. So that is the ray of sunshine, the level of hope that I want to bring inside the windows of all of you out there who've been doing thermograms for so long. And of course, every year you go, okay, it's same,
yeah,
no change.
It's a great feeling to get that report and say, wow, nothing is starting.
Nothing is starting, and you are knowledgeable enough to know that. The thing that would really bugs me, of course, about September, I'll be coming back and I'll be doing my mammogram rant at the time. But compare how you feel when you get your study back to how it must feel if you're a knowledgeable woman. You get a call from your doctor saying, oh, guess what? I got good news. The results of your mammogram is back, and you have no sign of any lesion this year. Well, guess what? I don't think that means a thing.
It doesn't, because, I know people that have had a good mammogram one year and breast cancer the next.
That's it. There you go. So I think the public is now onto this so much that they're really caught between. They don't know about thermograms. They don't know about them. They're just saying, oh, my God, what do I do? I feel that I got to do something. I better get at least the mammogram, and yet I know that the results that say that everything's fine don't necessarily mean that at all. It's quite a bit of angst that women have to go through with that mammogram thing that, well, you don't. You are flying free. You've leaped from the edge of the cliff, and you are flying on your own now. And isn't it great to be able to fly out there?
It's wonderful.
I'm glad to hear it. Thank you so much for the call. And keep passing that thing on about the L-ascorbate and the non-corn derived.
Yes.
Okay?
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
There is one educated listener there, folks. Well, you're all educated listeners. Come on in and share with us anything going on in your particular situation or one situation that you may know of. 412-825-6262 is the number to get in today. As it is every day when we hear the knock on the door, we'll let you in the store and share your story with us at that time. That vitamin C thing, I get his newsletter. I'm talking about Russ Francis, that is. A great author, a scientist. I love it. A scientist extraordinaire. Remember, he's the chemical. I don't know if he's an engineer. He's PhD in chemistry, who was almost bumped off by well-intended doctors back there in the 1980s because when he went to submitted to the hospital and was given what any other patient would be given for his particular malady at the time, he suffered all the ill consequences of receiving those drugs, and it was the drugs that almost killed him until he swore off of those things right inside the hospital and was able, slowly, ever so slowly, to nurture himself back. The Russ Francis story is one that we love to tell by not having him with us, but we always love to tell by bringing him back to us, and we'll do so in the near future, especially with this vitamin C thing. I just love to hear that colleagues of mine are spreading the word. And remember the day, a long time ago, that we were the first to do it. Everybody was angry. They were upset with me. I knew science covered my back then. Science has covered my back now. There shouldn't be anybody out there in the streets singing it any other way than with the rest of the choir. Hey, got a knock on the door. Come on, this store. Hello and welcome aboard.
Good morning, Dr. Courtney.
Hello there.
It's something I think has gotten by the radar here recently. I've been listening to a lot of the health shows, and no one has mentioned the fact that it was just announced last week that NBTY, which is Nature's Bounty, was acquired by a group called the Carlyle Group out of Washington, D.C. For a fabulous sum of $3.8 billion transaction, the largest, I think the largest to date of any acquisition in the health field, and certainly the largest transaction this year so far in any field, but nobody's talking about it, and since we have vitamin worlds in this area.
Yeah, you sure do. Sure.
Yeah, they're acquired. Solgar is part of that.
Oh, are they really? That's a great company.
Oh, right. I mean, this is a huge acquisition. There's mail order catalog, Puritan Pride's involved in this. So, of course, the Vitamin World, Solgar, MetX. There's a bunch of powder, protein powder companies, protein bar companies, all gobbled up at once.
So what do you think? Is there some sinister reason for you? Should we all be on the lookout for what? Or is it just that even those in the entrepreneurial world are coming to the understanding that health is where it's at, and they're ready to put their dollars behind companies such as this?
Well, I think this would make a great interview if you got a hold of somebody from... I think there's a little bit of everything going on, okay?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of all, huh?
Yeah, because if you look at the financial part of it, it was a great deal. The acquisition is 8 times earnings, and if you know anything about the financial world, most companies go for 15, 16 times earnings, and even in this current atmosphere. So they gobbled it up at a very good price. I also think, this may be a good sign, is that Big Pharma is having some troubles right now.
Oh, they are. Now, the company that bought them out, are they a pharmaceutical company at all?
No, Carlyle Group even has sort of a Pittsburgh connection. I researched the group. It's one of these under-the-cover kind of things. It was started in 1987 by just 3 gentlemen got together and... apparently they named it after the Carlyle Hotel, which was their favorite hotel to have meetings at.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they started out with $5 million. They're now managing $85 billion. And if you read the history of this Carlyle Group, it'll make you swoon. They started out in defense contract investments, but they're so, hey, they're a monster out there just gobbling up things. And this may be no more than a great financial deal, But on the other hand, I think we have to watch out when these groups, what kind of management, what kind of power are they going to yield over the manufacturer?
Yeah, I hope they don't bring practices that ruin these products. I mean,
right. Right now, I don't think there's anything to be really alarmed about as far as I can tell, because I think they're going to let these companies pretty much continue to do what they've been doing, except that the emphasis will be made on profitability, because this Carlyle group is known to turn these companies around where they become money-generating machines.
Huh. Go figure. Some recent stuff in the news has pointed out to this over and over.
This was just last Friday. It's a week ago.
Well, we have BP on the arrival. We're learning a lot about the bottom line, the stockholders, and declaring dividends, and the vivid evidence of all that is being shown right in front of us every single day. And now I always love the cynical ear of yours, because by the way, you were the one that brought, not cynically, by the way, the John Michael. You were the
John
one.
Michael. I love that interview.
Oh, he was great. And,
but I'll tell you, there was a lot he didn't say. I mean, if you could have another interview where you could get him to be how chocolate, for instance, how chocolate has influenced his personal life. How he actually told me privately that he is off all stimulants right now because he was using chocolate with like speed. He was like only sleeping maybe 2-3 hours. He was on a 22-hour a day kind of regimen, and he felt that even though he felt good, he didn't think this was a good idea. So, but I mean, every time I talk to him, I get a little more insight as to the depth of his experience and knowledge, and plus he combines it with the personal training.
Yeah, the person, which at least came out in the conversation. He really enjoys doing. It's a big component of what he's into now, and he's got a great athletic background that gives him the full force of that kind of experience that brings to the table.
Sure, and I love talking to him, but you got to sort of tease it out of him.
Yeah, okay. Now, I know the next time we bring him on, and we'll bring him on because things are happening. Big things are coming in.
What kind of reminds me, too, is that I would love you to have a show. I know you're heavily involved with these anti-aging groups, and it would be interesting to have you have a show, either with one of your comrades or whatever, talking about how you personally use some of this information in your own life. For instance, do you personally chelate on a regular basis? Do you do these vitamin C drips on occasion? It would be interesting to hear how a doctor of your
toughest part for me, when my wife was alive, it wasn't hard at all, but starting my own IV. I have actually friends of mine, medical friends of mine, that say they can do it. I can't do that.
Okay.
I just can't do it. So my most difficult thing for me now is to get somebody else to start my IV, but that's another story on another day. Just thought I'd share with that.
Well, make an interesting show sometime, and
right.
And also maybe getting somebody from maybe NBTY or something, maybe to come on a show and have a little discussion about this acquisition.
I tell you what, I jotted down this thing with the Carlyle group, and I'll put the NBTY. I'm going to find out who I can get. You've given me tips before. I've pursued them. I'll pursue this one. Thank you so much for it.
Also, before I pass that, well, I guess she's not a doctor, but Susan Merenstein, a compounding...
Oh, yeah, up there in Squirrel Hill.
Yeah, I would think she would make an amazing show for you.
Yeah, you mentioned that before, and you know what? Second time out of your mouth, well, let's get Susan on here. Okay? Okay.
All right, thank you for your show, Doctor.
Bye now. I enjoy doing the show. The gentleman always has great ideas, and we follow most of his requests. We'll follow these too. Hey, there was a knock on the door. Still there, I hope. Come on in the store. Hello, and welcome aboard.
Hey, good morning, Doc. How you doing?
Danville, you waited for me. Thank you so much. What's on your mind, buddy?
Hey, I got a question. My father-in-law, he's 79 years old, and he's got horrendous rheumatoid arthritis. Now, they're trying him on some drugs. I don't know what it is, but there's an even more expensive drug, which is like $1,800 or $1,900 a month. $1,700 a month, my wife just said. And they said he's got to try the cheap drugs before they go for the expensive drugs, but he doesn't want to pay for it personally because he says they will never ever pay for it. They said once you pay for it, we will not pay for it.
Yeah.
In other words,
I'm just trying to even envision what drug the categories even go up to chemotherapeutic drugs for rheumatoid arthritis. I don't know where he is on that escalator, the glide path, and whatever, however you want to put it, but
it's pretty bad.
This whole thing, there's none of these drugs that work very, very well, and they're in such the toxic ranges now.
Yep, that's what they said.
They're so toxic that the side effects and repercussions of taking the medicine is not even worth taking that risk to try to get the relief from the rheumatoid. You gotta. Don't you have any influence on? Is it your father-in-law? You said father-in-law.
That's my wife's father. He goes to the rheumatologist and Duke. You know, we're only 50 miles from Duke, 60 miles, and he goes down 45 minutes, whatever. But however, I did read something up that the old non-GMO C is also an anti-inflammatory for the joints, supposedly.
No, that's the first time non-GMO is a great anti-inflammatory, you're saying?
Well, I read on Dr. Andrew Saul, who's a what do you call it? He's a PhD or he's a biochemist. He said that vitamin C has helped as far as an anti-inflammatory and stuff.
Let's just say that you really didn't mean to say that. No, I think the problem with, and here it comes again, this whole thing about corn-derived versus non-corn derived, it's all based in circling around the fact that one is genetically modified and all the non-corn derived are not genetically modified. But the point is that any genetically modified material, although it has the same taste, although it's the same molecules, it's the same number of carbons, hydrogen, oxygen, it has no biological bang. So the point to make is, whatever you're seeking, and we can talk about anti-inflammatory properties of vitamin C. I can go along with it because of its strong antioxidant properties. I can see it working that way. But you better have a non-corn derived, not a.
Oh, I know. I can get one in Vitamin World.
But the GMOs, meaning that it is corn derived, certainly has been genetically modified, wouldn't have any biological back. So vitamin C, absolutely. IV vitamin C in these more critical cases.
Oh no, he wouldn't do that.
Well,
that's way beyond the
scope. Then you better get him a form. Then let's just say this much: you better get him a form of a non-corn derived that's fat soluble, because at least in that respect, now the one product that keeps coming to mind is a product made by Sir Arnold Takimoto's company called Bioimmune.
Right. I can't find his website anymore. What's he under now?
It's bioimmune.com.
Is it up? Have you seen it recently?
Geez, I never thought it was ever taken down. I'm going to check it right after we get off the air here.
Yeah, I think for a while it was gone. I don't know if he...
Oh, goodness. Well, I know that, because we deal with the company quite a bit, but the point I wanted to make is, if you can't get someone to consent to IVs, or just, I've had a couple patients that just couldn't even wrap their mind around the venipuncture. It was a psychological thing with them. Then you better have two things: non-corn derived fat soluble form. Arnold makes a product called Ultra Absorbic C, and 990 milligram teaspoon of the stuff is the equivalent of 18,000 mils.
Oh my goodness!
And so there's the way when we have our people on various protocols, cancer protocols, antimicrobial protocols, Monday through Friday, we're in here very aggressively doing IV infusions of very high doses. But on the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, rather than not doing anything at all, we have them each on 1 to 2 vials of the oral, getting as much benefit from the oral as they did from the IV. I think that's a wonderful solution. At least bring that up to your father-in-law. I wish you all the best of success.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'll just get him something. Do you think 500 milligrams, not now, this is the non-GMO, the non-GMO,
take 500 milligrams of non-corn derived or non-GMO.
500, yeah.
Okay, you will absorb you absorb about 50 milligrams at most.
Oh, that's it?
So you can't use water-soluble forms of vitamin C very effectively not because even if it's non-corn derived that it wouldn't be beneficial to you, but you absorb so little of it that when you try to finally push the window, let's say take 4,000 milligrams of the stuff and 5,000, you're going to reach a point, if you hit 4,000 above, that you're going to get what they call bowel tolerance.
Oh, yeah.
The stool will get loose and you'll get diarrhea because of the osmotic load of that. It's 90% staying in the colon, only 10% max getting in the blood. So do this a smarter way. Get non-corn derived but fat soluble non-corn derived, and now you get the best of both worlds, and you can get therapeutic endpoints in even severe cases by getting that antioxidant component working for you. But you got to have those two components in mind. And now my colleagues are really getting mad at me again because you got to do it with both things in mind. I'm so glad to hear, by the way, that Russ Francis, personal friend of ours here, has put out in his newsletter. I just got to go looking for it. That he's looking for L-ascorbate. I've never seen D-ascorbate, levorotary versus dextrorotary. That's an isomer thing, but I'll start looking for that too. And if I find a product that is going to promote D-ascorbate, I'm going to be the first to let you know. I've never seen it. That's why I never mentioned it, but I'm going to start mentioning it now.
I never even heard of it.
Well, no, be a label reader. Be a label. You'll see D's and L's on the back of labels, and if it's a D-ascorbate, as I say, I've never seen it before. If you got vitamin C on your breakfast nook out there, ladies and gentlemen, pick it up. Look, if it's D-ascorbate, give me a call. I want to know about that product. We got to tell everybody that that one's toxic. Okay?
Oh, God. Okay, Doc.
All right. All right, there you go. Danville, checking in. Yeah, that thing with the GMO and non-GMO, you can't get the biological activity with this stuff, and so that's why I only encourage the use of a form of vitamin C that meets the two provisions that you now, as an informed consumer, can look at, which is it non-corn derived? That's a pretty easy way of saying that it's not genetically modified, because those who get their vitamin C sources from a source other than corn aren't doing so because it's for any other reason than they know that the corn derived, which is dirt cheap. They get that stuff from corn syrup. It is dirt cheap, and they continue to utilize the economics of this and want to ignore the science of this to promote their product, at least the bottom line. There are bongos in the background. It is Friday. We are getting them up out of here now. See you on Monday. We'll be talking more about this stuff. And until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for and impact on your health.